What's good, everybody? This is LennyTV, and you already know who it is, my man Quillz, man. What's going on?
What's going on? What's going on? Good to be here.
Yeah, you know, I had to hit you up recently because you I saw you drop that track "Spend It Up," and I seen the video, and I was just like hype. I was like, my boy Quillz, he ain't playing. He just, I said he ready, and he coming to take the throne. What I mean by that is that like you ain't letting nobody stop you, like, cause I appreciated the hypeness, the lyricism, and everything that y'all put towards that video. And I know you wanted to go into it about the little situation, so you can go right ahead, man.
Yeah, so the John Spin It Up, the thing was about it, the song we actually recorded in September of last year. So it was like some difficulty behind it because we recorded the song at a professional studio, and some of the guys that was on the song was kind of like, alright, like they dealt with like studios like with a hole in the wall type deal, but now going to a professional studio was just like different as far as like the pricing go and with the studio time. So now it's like, okay,
Gotcha.
so once we go there, ultimately it was set the one song, 4 verses. It's a bit much for an engineer, but I'm like, maybe we can squeeze it out in 2 hours, and we couldn't. So we had to do a whole nother session, and some of the guys, they weren't feeling that. So amongst doing a song, like the video, we was looking to do the video right after we recorded, but it ended up like a whole situation happened, and me and another guy that was on the song, we actually like started battling. We like had diss tracks going against each other, man, and it was crazy. But all in all, despite all the ruckus, you know what I mean, just trying to be the bigger person of the situation, I hit the guy up like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying, listen, we started something, I want to finish it, so let's go ahead and shoot the video, like, and we all came together and we finally did the video this year. I want to say in June, maybe July. So all in all, it was definitely a good outcome. You know what I mean? One of those situations where you just gotta duke it out, and hopefully everything will come, you know what I mean, good from it. But even with that being said, like, it's still like with some things like afterwards that even took place, and it's just like, you know what I mean, the video was finished, so all is all, and you know what I mean, I could just say, all right, we did it, we finished it, and I'm gonna just use it for promotion. So I was definitely excited about the outcome, you know what I mean, but yeah, man, it's definitely hard, man. It's hard trying to make situations happen in Delaware. So, yeah.
Well, basically, a little off of that wave, though, I see that you said you got something dropping, you got something coming for us, man. So is that a new tape, a new song? Like, what's going on?
Alright, so I actually had like a back and forth with one of my homies because the song Spin It Up is actually not going on my project. Spin It Up was just more so something done for promotion. Reason being is because I didn't purchase or lease the beat. So I was just like, alright, I could do that, but in the same sense of, you know, getting more into the professionalism as far as like your BMIs and having your stuff on like iTunes and Spotify, I was just more or less like talking to the guys like, yo, is that something that y'all want to be interested in? But now we talking investments, and I was like, I got to be thoughtful of who I really want to invest in, because if I'm tossing up my money, then I'm investing. If you tossing up your money, then you're investing. But you know what I mean? For me, it's common sense to where if we all on a song, rather if it's me and one other person, you know what I mean, everything goes straight down the middle. But most artists is just like that. I ran into that whole theory, just kind of like, nah. So with that song, like I said, it's just for promotion. But even with that, like right before that, probably like a couple weeks prior, I had did a freestyle of 4 for 4 Jay-Z's the song 4 for 4. And now it's just more so just building the buzz, because at the end of the day, like, I think most artists feel like their music is so great, but if you don't got no listeners, it's just kind of like, what's your purpose? You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of me just trying to like really like build a campaign so that way everything will make sense. So actually shortly I will be dropping a song from the project with me and another artist from Delaware, Bill Cosby. So that song is like kind of like the same sort of type of feel of Spin It Up. You know what I mean? Just a fun, all-going type of song. But from that, I got another song I want to drop that's gonna be just me by myself called No Rush, and like it's all in all, it's definitely like for me, it's just more so just timing and pacing and making sure that I'm not rushing to do anything, but also not trying to be too much of a perfectionist because you know what I mean, that could also slow you down too. So I'm just trying to make sure I got everything lined up correctly, so once I drop, you know what I mean, it's like, yo, we can't deny Quillz now. Like, and that's what I want to minimize the room for error. So, because people gonna make their judgments and they gonna say what they don't like regardless. So it's just like, let me put that down to a minimum. So, I mean, it's all love. So
you can pick that. You know, I consider people like yourself, especially like, you know, around your age range, my age range, that's been doing the music for a while. Like, I call y'all the vets in the game. And what I mean by that is, like, I know it's probably tough, like, when you got something hot, but it's kind of hard to probably get the views.
right.
And because, like, you know, back when we were in high school or whatever, we didn't have the social media outlet like everybody else got now, especially with the youngins now. So it's like it's like you wish you could just like. You wish it was there for that your time being, you know what I'm saying? Like, so how are you gonna go about promotion when it comes to, you know, getting your music out there? Because, you know, let's say if it's a younger rapper out there, he doing this thing, but he could easily get 2,000, 3,000 views in a day because he's still in high school. Because he's told all his friends about it, and they told their friends, and it's like that school platform that they got. Is it hard not having that school platform?
I'ma say no. Reason being is because, again, with everything transitioning to what it is today, for me to hear anybody's song is so easy to get to. All I gotta do is just, you know, it's literally right there. So all in all, like I mean, all in all, it's better to have it firsthand, so where you can actually see them. But in the same breath, like, nah, I don't think it's that hard. I think it's rather easy because, like I said, everything is so accessible with the internet. Like, everything is there. Like, versus like within the generations of like me being in high school, I think that was still like the MySpace transitioning into the Facebook days. So social network was always there, but even for like some of the older generations who didn't have the internet at all, like I think like the difference in between the grind is just knowing that music back then, it would last longer, and it was, you know what I mean, it was harder to get to. But now it's just like, you know, a mixtape is not as exclusive as it used to be. Like, a mixtape back then was just like, yo, how you get your hands on it? But now it's like, you on a mixtape, you just go on that piff and it's right there. You know what I mean? Like, even like back in the day, you had like the bootleg man that'll sell you 3 CDs for 10. Now you don't even go to him no more, like, cause you got it at your fingertips with your cell phone. So it's definitely not hard, man. So all in all, I think the best strategy, I mean, the best platform to use, and I try to tell people, but all in all, most people just want to do what they want to do. Like, if you go on Facebook, somebody drop a new song, chances are they gonna tag like 1,000 people in the post. And if you do your research considerably, that's spamming, despite if they know you, if they don't know you, that's a spam. So the best way to promote yourself is through sponsors and advertising and blogs, and, you know what I mean, really investing that money into yourself to where you don't have to have people being irritated because you keep tagging them in posts. All you gotta do is post it and sponsor it, and eventually like people will start checking for you. So amongst that, you know what I mean, just making sure that you grab your I would say like in a customer, because I mean, eventually you're selling your product, so you want to make sure that you're selling your product, you know what I mean, with interest, so that way people could like feel worthy or for a need to want to check you out, versus them feeling like alright, he begging me to check it, so I'm gonna watch it just to say I watched it. And now it's, alright, boom, I did it. Now you good. Like, nah, I want to build a fan base, not people who feel like they gotta do favors for me.
You made a great point too. Like the music, I recognize that too. Me being a fan of hip hop and me being a fan of R&B and music in general. Back then, man, the music did last longer. Like the hits, I mean, you know. So it's like, let's say if somebody dropped an album or dropped a single, it's like you could listen to it for a good 3 to 4 months and not get tired of it, you know. And then as an artist, if they drop a nice album, they can go on tour after that and then wait a good 2 to 3 years for they go to do another one. And now it's like after they drop that hot track, it seems like this generation today, they forget about it after a few hours. After, you know, and then they want the next track, and it's like, do you feel pressure where like you gotta drop a track or a mixtape every single year or something like that now because of how ADD we are?
Man, the attention span is definitely shortened up amongst the years, so to stay afloat, you do have to stay consistent. Like, consistency is always a factor, but today is gigantic because if you ain't on it, like, you can't, even with that album or mixtape a year theory, like, I feel like you can't even do that. Like, even if you do, you have to, like, make sure that you're doing features or at least dropping singles or freestyles or something. Like, you gotta stay at it because once, I want to say maybe, I'll give it like 2 months, maybe 3 months. If you ain't did nothing in that time, people just kind of like, yo, you falling off. And it's just like, really? Like, but that's just how it is, man. Like, you gotta stay at it because if you don't, I mean, you got artists who are dropping so frequently, and then you have people who are just starting to rap, and it makes it that much easier for artists to drop music so much because before you had to go to the studio. Now people got the studios in their homes, or now they have their own cameras, or now, you know what I mean, or now they have their own blogs and to promote themselves, and you know what I mean. So now it's like you gotta stay with the wave. Like, you got, if you gonna do it, you gotta do it, man. Like, you got to. So just staying at it is definitely hard because you still gotta live your regular life too. You know what I mean? But if you gonna do it, man, you gotta stay at it, man, to stay relevant.
You ever like do get frustrated sometimes, like just like waking up like, man, like what the fuck am I doing, or like should I stop this or should I keep going? Like how are you some days?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I had times like that, probably like a few years back, because when you really start to study, like, you start to realize financially you need to be stable to make your music. Before, it just kind of like, you know what I mean, you have that expectation that people just gonna want to listen just because, and it doesn't work like that. But even with having, you know, with being like financially stable, it's not just having a bunch of money, it's about knowing what to invest in. And that also can become frustrating because you're going to take some losses. And that's like the biggest deal with doing anything, like, you know what I mean, when it comes to your music or anything, like as far as you like doing something for your future. You got to be prepared and ready to know that you're not going to always go to the a performance and it's going to be a million people there and they all going to be chanting your song after you're done. Sometimes you might go to perform and it's only like 10 people there and they ain't paying you no attention. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta be willing to understand, like, that's what comes along with it. So I think being older and becoming wiser and just investing more of my time and you know what I mean, my effort towards what I really want to do, I think those frustrations kind of like left because all in all, you know what I mean, I'm thinking more with a clearer mind as to what it is I want to do. Especially when you like planning stuff, like, you know what I'm saying, things work out better. But all in all, like, it's some situations that you're not gonna be able to avoid. So you gotta be willing to, you know what I mean, you gotta have the mentality of knowing, not necessarily being negative, but you gotta know that, alright, I might do something and it might not work out, so let me just prepare myself mentally for it. But for the most part, you know what I mean, the music is definitely like, it's a roller coaster, man. So, you know what I mean, with anything that you're doing, you gotta ask yourself, like, how much do I really want to do it? Because those days is gonna come, they're gonna come, and you know what I mean, those gonna be the days where you really that's where your strength is tested most. So you gotta just stick it out.
How is the clothing line going so far? Did your website come up yet, or like how's that going?
Clothing line, man. You know what? I'm gonna be real with you. I just went to the studio and I finished up my next project, and I'm talking to the engineer, and he was telling me about a website because they have like Wix and Big Cartel that most people typically use to use their as their platform to sell their merchandise. So he was telling me like, yo, just if I was you, I would make a website from scratch, so that way you can have your own .com versus their .com / your name. So now I'm kind of like transitioning over to making my own website, so that way with how he was explaining it to me, it would be better and more professional. But amongst that, like just like using the social networks, like it's literally like the progression is there. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say like I sell like 1,000 shirts every week, but it's definitely picking up, man, because you know it's got a good vibe to it. It shows a lot of you know what I mean, a lot of good from coming from a negative background, and people like that, you know what I'm saying? So it's just more so just staying at it, because with the brand, now those, I did have those type of days with the brand, because it's just like, you know, things don't always take off as quickly as we like it to, but it will take off as long as you stay at it, do your research. So I've been selling t-shirts with the season about to break. Now I'm starting to get more into the hoodies, might do some scullies, you know what I mean, all in all. So just more or less just, you know what I mean, staying at it. And even so, like, I had like the original logo is Good Forever written out. Like this is the newer one right here, where I got the eternity sign inside of Good that also says Good Forever, and it says existed in 2011, because that's when I wrote my song called Good Forever. So that song is actually gonna be on the project as well. So it'll explain like how I came up with Good Forever and what it stands for.
Oh, cool, man. That's what's up. And so you and like you said, I remember talking to you before how you were like, you know, you've been doing this for a while, and you know everybody has their setbacks, but you were just like this is me though, like this is my passion, so like I'm never gonna let it go. Like, so it's cool to have that. Do you know of anybody, or do you have any friends or family like that was in the same thing like you in music, but they just eventually just stopped when you were growing up?
So my reasoning or how I really like started making music, like most people I think I have encounters with would say like they listen to Biggie or Jay-Z or something and they felt inspired. Like living in a household where like me and my brothers was all separated. Like my oldest brother, like both of my brothers, they both made music, they both rap, but my oldest brother was the one that was like really into it. So he the one, like he encouraged me to do it, but back then my inspiration to do it wasn't to like to do what I'm doing now. It was just more so to have some type of connection with them. So the more and more I did it to try to get closer to them, I kind of found myself into it. And the weird thing is, like, I was like kind of reaching for that attention from them, and I didn't get it. But once I stopped trying, that's when I got it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So again, like, actually, with both of my brothers, like, I think like my one brother, he did it for the sake of his friends, but my oldest brother, I think he was doing it for himself, and then eventually he kind of lost his interest. I mean, he still writes and everything, but you know what I mean, like, he kind of looks at me, and it is crazy because he inspired me, but he will always say like, yo man, like, you know, it's crazy that I can say my little brother like got videos and he got mixtapes out, and I ain't never get that privilege. So all in all, like, it's definitely it's crazy because that's the person that, you know what I mean, made me want to do it. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, that's sometimes they play out like that. So
Do you think you're gonna stay here for like stay in Delaware for, I don't want to say the rest of your life, but like while you're just, you know, still doing your music career, or you think you're gonna move to New York, LA, Atlanta, or you just, like, what do you think's gonna happen?
ideally, New York is the move. However, I think that it's smart to live in Delaware because everything I need is right here. And New York is literally, what, 2-3 hours away from Delaware. You know what I'm saying? So to get there is nothing, but of course it's better to be there long term because all in all you want to be perfectly where the A&Rs and the labels are at. So Delaware for me, I think it's good to take care of like whatever you need, because if you compare prices, for me to get a studio session in Delaware versus me getting a studio session in New York, I mean, the price is going to differ, especially when it comes to videos, because I didn't work with like some of like the bigger names, and they want a couple dollars, like they ain't charging nothing cheap. But in the same breath, for a guy in Delaware, you can get that same quality for a much lower price. It's just more so because of the name and their brand is where the bigger investments come in. Plus, they're working with people in the industry because they're in industry. So, all in all, like, I definitely, even to anybody that's doing their thing, like, I would say, yeah, it's good to network and go outside, but unless you don't have it to travel, I would say stay where you're at.
Okay.
But travel.
And who was? Oh my God.